Welcome back to the channel once more, guys. We're continuing our total Halo weapons tier list. That's right, we're going to be continuing our ranking of all 198 weapons in the mainline Halo games. Coming off of Halo 2 from the previous video, we're going to be hitting up Halo 3. Halo 3 was the first Halo game that it seems that really popped off with a lot of weapon variety. I'm going to be ranking all of the detachable turrets in the series as well from here on out, since they technically are portable, heavy weapons that you can use on foot. So we're going to kick it off with these 25 weapons, starting with the assault rifle. Now the assault rifle is once again a C. The return of the assault rifle is not met with much fanfare. With a reduced ammo capacity of 32, you'll be reloading quite often with this gun. Now the upside of this variant of the AR is the tighter projectile spread, which makes the weapon far more accurate than the CE iteration. Definitely ditch this gun 9 times out of 10 in campaign. Tougher enemies like the brutes and hunters don't even mind getting tickled by this gun, but in multiplayer, a short burst of concentrated fire along with a melee will get the job done, but often end in a Halo tie, so, you know, it's okay. Now we move on to the battle rifle. Now the battle rifle is an S. The battle rifle is a very powerful weapon once again, and often a necessity at medium to long ranges. A reduced fire rate, but still is a very capable weapon. Definitely pick it up in BTB, and also great at dispatching tons of enemies in campaign. Now we move on to the Carbine. Now the Carbine's getting upgraded to an A from this game. The Carbine is still a great medium range weapon. Now while it falls short in comparison to the battle rifle, it still lays waste in both multiplayer and campaign, thanks to its affinity with headshot kills. The Covenant battle rifle copy is definitely a worthy weapon in this game. Now we move on to the Spiker. Now the shish kebab gun is going to have to be a D. The Spiker is kind of useless. The brute primary weapon is basically just a weaker SMG with a lower fire rate, smaller ammo capacity, and all around uselessness at medium to long range. The gun is only really effective when dual wielded, and honestly, just skip over it, especially in campaign where it can't really do much damage at all to any of the stronger enemies. Now we move on to the SMG. Now the SMG, I'm going to have to give it a B. The SMG is definitely a step up from the Halo 2 counterpart with far more damage output, and when dual wielded, the sheer fire rate will turn any competition into Swiss cheese. I'd ditch my assault rifle for an SMG or 2 of them any day. Now the Mauler is a pocket shotgun that can be dual wielded. This brute weapon is going to get an A. This pocket shotgun claps. Dual wielded Maulers are absolutely overpowered. In fact, combining this gun with anything in a dual wield grants near dominance in close quarters. It pretty much one-shots when you got 2 of them. Now I move on to the Magnum. While it resembles the Halo CE Magnum in style and looks, the weapon is just an imposter of the God Pistol. Fire rate and capacity are abysmal on this gun, which is only capable when an enemy's shields are down or when combined with a far better dual-wielded weapon, which is honestly kind of sad. Magnum is going to get a D tier. Now I move on to the Plasma Rifle. Now the Plasma Rifle is definitely going to snag a B tier once again. The Plasma Rifle is a great shield melting weapon with a high fire rate. It definitely outclasses its Halo 2 iteration, and this Plasma Rifle is even better with a Brother or an SMG or Mauler. This gun is best suited at killing brutes as well. Now we move on to the Needler. This is an A. This Needler hit the gym pretty hard. The weapon had a glow up for sure since the Halo 2 iteration. So hard that it can't even be dual wielded anymore. The Halo 3 Needler super combines very quickly, allowing for quick kills in both multiplayer and campaign. And additionally, the projectiles travel at higher velocities than previous Needlers. This weapon is best suited at medium to short ranges. And honestly, you're just going to evaporate everyone with this thing. Definitely pick it up. Now we move on to the Plasma Pistol. The Halo 3 Plasma Pistol is finally useful, but not that useful. I'm going to give it a C. The Plasma Pistol has a newfound ability where it can EMP vehicles. Now if vehicles are ever a problem and traditional anti-tank weapons aren't available to you, these quick fixes are practically around every corner. Best against pesky Banshees or Hornets, but aside from that, it's largely useless against infantry unless you're packing a precision weapon like a battle rifle or carbine. Now we move on to the Sniper Rifle. S. Easily. Once again, it's back. It's an S. This time the green screen scope makes a return. Now move on to the beam rifle. Now again, it has an issue with overheating, so I'm gonna have to give it an A. It's kind of virtually identical to the Halo 2 beam rifle, so it doesn't really move anywhere. Fuel rod cannon. Now, great weapon against infantry, fairly decent against light ground vehicles. It's really only held back by its inability to swap air vehicles out of the sky, along with a pretty slow projectile speed. It does make up for it a bit though with its 5-round magazine, as is tradition since the Halo 2 iteration. Fuel rod gun gets an A tier. I'm running out of room. Oh, this is gonna be bad. This is gonna be real bad. Now we move on to the rocket launcher. This is gonna be an A tier as well. Now this is a shocker. I know, a rocket launcher outside of the S tier? Well, while it's very powerful in damage output against infantry and vehicles alike, the Halo 3 rocket launcher under-delivers compared to its brothers. Now this is mainly due to the slow, very slow rocket speed. Additionally, it doesn't have any sort of lock-on feature, and there is a great presence of air vehicles in Halo 3, so it's not very useful in most situations. I wouldn't really count on it, but it's definitely a decent weapon. Fairly good weapon against infantry in this game. Now the Spartan Laser. Now this laser pointer from hell made a great entrance into the Halo series. That's easily an S. Now the Spartan Laser is a guaranteed one-shot kill with direct hits. At, well, I'm pretty sure infinite range. The weapon does have a weaker scope than the sniper rifle, and it does have a slow charge time, but these drawbacks don't even hold this blazer back at all. Now we move on to the Gravity Hammer. Now the Gravity Hammer is an easy S. It is a nearly flawless weapon in Halo 3. Complete with a lunge and massive radius of insta-kill damage output, the Gravity Hammer absolutely trashes clusters of enemies in campaign, as well as playing around with vehicles. The hammer also lays waste to enemies in multiplayer, along with any piece of map scenery in its way. And it is the Griffball weapon, aside from the Energy Sword, so you can't hate on it for that. Energy Sword comes back once again. It's another S tier. The sword is once again flawless, and perhaps even better than the previous edition. It has a one-hit kill in multiplayer, unless the enemy has a shotgun. Now, the Halo 3 shotgun is very effective in bull trues, which is when you stop a melee attack mid-lunge. So, that is the only drawback of the sword, but it still dominates. Now we move on to the shotgun. Now, the shotgun is an A tier. Once again, the shotgun is the king of point-blank range, but it lacks in most other situations. Even at shorter ranges, the shotgun does an insignificant amount of damage. The shotgun also has a low fire rate and small ammo capacity, but it will typically always win against energy swords. Now for the brute shot. Now the brute shot is an A. Oh yeah, nice and snug right in between the shotguns. The brute shot in Halo 3 got a much needed buff. It has a higher ammo capacity of 6, higher damage output, and an increased effectiveness against vehicles. Speaking of vehicles, hits from the brute shot send light vehicles flying and spinning out, assisting in disabling and destroying them. Though it will give your enemies the chance at a donut, which is not really a preferable situation. Now the brute shot is a very capable weapon at close ranges, but it really drops off in effectiveness at range due to a slow projectile speed. It's a very effective weapon for sure, and I'm gonna grab it anytime I see it. Now for the Sentinel Beam, once again, the Sentinel Beam, decent weapon. It's okay. It's a C again. Now we move on to some of the turrets. Now, the turrets are a little interesting in this game. The machine gun turret is going to get a B. Now, a very powerful weapon at short to medium ranges with a high capacity and fire rate. This weapon is also great against light vehicles. Each round fired outputs a significant amount of damage, but due to being a heavy weapon, player movement speed leaves much to be desired. Picking one of the turrets up in the game is a risk as well, as it leaves one to become an easy, slow-moving target. So, you know, it's pretty good, pretty effective in a pinch, but it also makes you the world's easiest target. Now onto the plasma cannon. Now, the plasma cannon is just an inferior machine gun turret with far less accuracy. I don't think I ever touched this thing. That's gonna get a D. I guess the only time it's effective is when... No, it's pretty useless. I tried to give it a better grade, but I never use it. Now onto the missile pod. Now, the missile pod is also a B tier. The missile pod is very useful against vehicles. It one-shots infantry in multiplayer and most enemies in campaign. The missile pod also possesses a lock-on feature for air vehicles, which makes up for the lack of one in the rocket launcher. In campaign, it is found only on the Storm mission, pretty strangely enough, which is also the only place it can be found mounted. So, in that form as well, the missiles fire vertically before dropping on a target, a la the Javelin rocket launcher from real life. Don't know why I included that, but... And they also lock onto Scarab limb joints, so it's not a bad weapon. Now onto the Flamethrower. Now, the Flamethrower is a... well... Flamethrower is a D. The Flamethrower is a very situational weapon. It's very powerful at close range, if you can even get there. This weapon weighs down your Spartan to slow speeds like all other turret weapons, so closing the gap is very difficult. I usually skip this weapon outside of campaign or claustrophobic multiplayer maps, so, you know. This is only really useful in very specific situations. Now we move on to the 7-wood. Now the 7-wood is kind of a carbon copy of the gravity hammer, so it gets an S. I will say, though, it is a very powerful weapon amongst US presidents. Before I go on Halo 3, I'm going to go ahead and lump in the ODST weapons, since Halo 3 ODST introduces 3 new weapons. We're starting off with the Silenced SMG. Now this is a B tier for sure. The Silenced SMG is pretty mean. It's perhaps one of the slickest guns to enter the Halo series, and it is also not a bad firearm in general. It has the high capacity of an SMG, but it also has the added benefit of decent accuracy at medium ranges. So, you know, it's actually like a longer ranged hybrid between a battle rifle and an SMG. It's pretty good. I gotta give it that much. It has, honestly, it's just a jack of all trades at multiple ranges. So, easily B tier. Now we move on to the Silenced Pistol. Now, this is also going to be a B tier. The Silenced Pistol kind of slaps. This is the first time the pistol has had a scope on it since CE, and it excels greatly at headshot delivery. Packs of grunts become no trouble with this thing. It just becomes a grunt lawnmower. The only downfall of this pistol is the lack of damage output, though. Dropping brute shields is not this gun's specialty, nor is knocking out hunters or other stronger enemies, so I gotta keep it at B. Now for the Brute Plasma Rifle. That's a B. We finally get our Brute Plasma Rifle to come back. It's once again great at knocking out shielded enemies. It can't be dual-wielded in this game, but it's still pretty effective weapon overall at close ranges. I didn't expect it to be that good when you can't dual-wield it, so pretty surprising. Alright, that's going to be it for the Halo 3 weapons, so here is the list so far. It's getting kind of busy in here. I might have to actually stretch it out a little bit. But, yeah, not bad so far. Alright, and that's going to be part 2 for the definitive Halo. What am I doing with this video? This is part 2. It's been part 2. It was a good one. I'll catch y'all on the next one with Halo Reach. Oh, and be sure to like and subscribe if you like this kind of video, so I can know to make more. Alright, I'll catch you on the next one. See ya.